Hi Dance Magazine readers, welcome back to Dance Magazine's YouTube channel. My name is Haley Hilton and this is Dancer Diary, where I'm chronicling my life as a dancer in New York City. Today we're going to do something a little fun and a little different. We are going to be tourists in my town and we are going to take a walking tour of some of New York's most iconic dance spots. New York is more than just the place that I return to dance or the place that I live. It's literally a dream come true for me, and I think that's true for so many of you out here. And so I just want to take a day to celebrate the magic that is dance and New York, our two very favorite things. So I'm gonna take you to some of the theaters where some of the most famous, incredible performers have ever performed, as well as some of the studios that have personal significance to me as I've returned to the industry. I'm really excited to share this with you. I feel like as a patron of the arts, as someone auditioning and performing out here, as well as just like a writer for Dance Magazine, I've been able to experience some of these places in unique ways, and I'm excited to share with you what I love about them. So let's go. All right, if you are visiting New York and you're a performer, these are the iconic spots that you have to hit up while you're here. I'm gonna do it in a walking tour structure, and I'm 6 months pregnant, so that's bold of me. You don't have to do it that way, but I highly recommend each of these places. And if you're already a New Yorker or a performer living in New York City, you've obviously been to most of these places, but if you haven't been to some of them, go hit them up. They're all amazing. Here I am at the iconic steps on Broadway. All right, we're gonna keep the walking tour moving, but some fun facts about Steps on Broadway is that it was founded in 1979 by Carol Baumgarten and Patrice Soriero. And the original location was actually on 56th Street, so it was 56th and Broadway. And then they moved it up to this location in 1984. Yeah, is that right? Yeah, they moved to their current location in 1984, so they've been there for a long time, and I love that they kept it on Broadway. Whoa. So that it could still be Steps on Broadway. I love Steps. It's obviously been featured in this vlog a lot because it's like my local space. But I came to Steps for the first time when I was about 8 years old. I came out to New York with my mom in my dance studio, and we went and took classes there. I'll put a picture of it in. And oh my gosh, I was in literal heaven getting to come and dance. You're learning from the most amazing choreographers. All the energy in the room is so exciting. And I remember there was this woman who was like an elderly woman in a ballet class who was in pointe shoes, and the pointe shoes were like so worn down, and she was like so frail, and we were all just like, wow, look at this woman dancing her whole life. Like, that's a possibility for us. You don't ever have to stop. And what I love about Steps, and like something that I think is unique to New York dance studios in general, is you get a whole range of ages and people, and like I'm literally 6 months pregnant and I'm dancing there, and it's all welcome because we're celebrating dance, not just like trying to book work, which we utilize in other spaces, but that is like strictly for class and moving our needles forward, and I love that. So that's Steps on Broadway. On to the next one. We're going to Lincoln Center. All right, we are coming up to the iconic Lincoln Center that includes Juilliard behind us. And then we are going to the David H. Koch Theater, which is where New York City Ballet performs, and the Metropolitan Opera House, which obviously is where the Met Opera performs, and there's dancers in that. But also ABT does I don't even know how many weeks, so they do a good chunk of time every year for a season at the Met. So we'll go look at that. So the David H. Koch Theater here is home to New York. Whoa, okay. The David H. Koch Theater here is home to New York City Ballet, and then this is the Met Opera House where ABT performs. So some history and fun facts about the David H. Koch Theater. Let's roll. So before coming here, New York City Ballet started, like with Balanchine, when Balanchine started, they performed at City Center, which we're gonna hit up later. But they've been at the David H. Koch Theater since, let's see, so they did 16 years at City Center, and then they came here in 1964, which is interesting. The architect who did it is Philip Johnson, and it opened April 23rd, 1964, and it was formerly known as the New York State Theater, which I think is pretty cool. So my experiences at the David H. Koch Theater. I feel like that's the theater that I've come to the most because I'm obsessed with New York City Ballet. My ballet teacher growing up trained at SAB. I just love Balanchine, and so it's so fun to come and watch them. I've seen some of the most iconic performers, Tyler Peck, Megan Fairchild. If you come at Christmas time, you have to go see the Nutcracker there. It's so, so special. My husband just reminded me that you might just spot Jennifer Garner there because I've seen her. Actually, it was ABT performing because she loves the Cindy's, you know? So one time at the David H. Koch Theater, we walked in and we were like, that's Jennifer Garner. She's a big patron of the arts. We love that. So the Met Opera House, like I said before, they have dancers who do the operas with the company. I've actually auditioned for it before and I loved the audition, like one of my best audition experiences in the city. And the Met Opera House is like spectacularly beautiful, like so ornate, gold everywhere, so grand. And even the audition rooms were so grand. You could see, like, I think it must have been backdrops or something. I'll include a picture here of what it looked like in there. It was so beautiful and just such a positive experience. So if you can ever audition, if you're a classical girly, go and do it. ABT is like a company that tours, and they tour the whole country, but they have like multiple weeks, like a full season, because they're based in Manhattan. They have a whole chunk of time that they're at the Met Opera House. My first time ever seeing ABT was when I was an intern for Dance Magazine. They used to do these intern swaps where the people interning at ABT and the people interning at Dance Media, so like Point and Dance Magazine and Dance Spirit, could swap places and learn about the other organization. And on the day that we swapped, we got to go watch one of their rehearsals on stage for their like spring season at the Met, and I got to watch Misty Copeland perform, and it was like the most beautiful special experience. She is so special, and so going and watching that was really cool. And to be like, I was writing for my dream publication, watching one of the most iconic companies in the world. It was so cool. Anyway, so highly recommend, if you're here during their season at the Met, go see ABT, of course. Okay, so that was Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, and it was founded by Alvin Ailey in 1958. It was forged during a pivotal moment during the Civil Rights Movement. This is from their website. Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater was established to uplift the African American experience while transcending boundaries of race, faith, nationality, and its universal humanity. So as the company grew, Alvin Ailey expanded the company to include dancers of all backgrounds to be part of his vision while reimagining his company as a library of dance. So after Ailey's death, Judith Jameson took over the company, and in 2005 she had the idea to create a permanent home for Ailey, and so that was realized with the open of the building that we just saw, which is called the Joan Wheel Center for Dance. My experience in that space is I've had like a couple auditions there, and honestly every time I walk in I think this might be the most beautiful dance space in the city. It is so, so gorgeous. If you have the chance to have an audition there, or you're just like visiting the city, go check it out. It's really, really beautiful, like amazing. I think actually one of my older vlogs, if you look at it, you can see some footage inside of one of the studios, and you'll just see how spectacular it is. Highly recommend. All right, now we just went due east, directly on 55th, right over. We're hitting up City Center, which is where New York City Ballet started for 16 years. That's where they were performing initially, so let's go check it out. My wonderful videographer had to leave and go back to work, so now it's just me trying to document myself here. But this is New York City Center. Let's go see a little bit more of it. I think that like the detailing on the outside is so beautiful. Check this out. Isn't that lovely? Gorge. All right, in classic New York fashion, there is a gigantic bus in front of it, but this is New York City Center. You can see it's this gigantic, beautiful, ornate building. New York City Center, the original purpose is it was built as a Mecca temple between 1922 and 1924, and it served as a Masonic, I don't know how to pronounce it, I think Masonic meeting house. And when the Shriners could no longer afford the taxes on the building became property of New York City, and Mayor LaGuardia then envisioned it as becoming a theater for music and dance, making it Manhattan's first performing arts center, which is really cool. So it was the early home to New York City Ballet, like I talked about before. My personal favorite experience at City Center is when I got to go see Twyla Tharp, and I got to see the Upper Room, and that was like one of the most incredible dance experiences of my life. If you ever have a chance to see the Upper Room, go, run. Oftentimes I'm going to see dance as like a journalist, but I went and saw the Upper Room just as a patron of the arts, and I still think about it all the time, how sensational every person in it was. Such a talented group, and obviously it's always evolving who's performing with them, but chills, full body chills, go see it. Next up, Radio City. Let's talk about Radio City, but it's so loud over here in Midtown that we have to go find a better place to chat. Radio City Music Hall opened in 1932 as part of the Rockefeller Center complex, which, ooh, while I'm over here, I should take, my nephew sent me his flat Stanley to document New York. So we're so close when we're at Radio City to Rockefeller that we're just gonna pop over to Rockefeller really quick. There's not like a dance specific reason, but I'm gonna hit up Rockefeller and then we'll keep chatting. Radio City Music Hall opened in 1932, and it was part of Rockefeller Center Complex, which is where we are now. It's Rockefeller, you can see up here, that's the top of the rock, and that's where Coleman proposed, and it was the best engagement I literally could have ever dreamed of. He smashed it. Anyway, so the Rockettes were actually part of the Missouri Rockettes, which I had no idea. Thought that was so interesting. The troupe was formed in St. Louis by choreographer Russell Market, and the theater owner S.L. Roxy Rothafel and Market eventually brought the troupe to New York City, where they were renamed the Roxyettes. Or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe they were the Roxyettes. No, yeah, sorry. They were the Roxyettes in St. Louis, Missouri, and then when they came to Rockefeller, they became the Rockettes. So in 1932 to 1933, they relocated to New York City, and that's when they renamed them. They were renamed to the Rockettes. And the first Radio City Christmas Spectacular was in 1933, which I thought was cool. And then another fascinating thing that I didn't know is that in 1978 to 1979, the building was slated for foreclosure, which is so crazy to think about, this like iconic place being slated for foreclosure. And the Rockettes led the charge to save it, which we love dancers who are committed to, you know, good causes. And obviously they were saving their own jobs, but I think that's fun. And the building received landmark status, saving it from demolition, which is cool. I have been into Radio City quite a few times to go see the Rockettes perform, which is really fun. Love it. If you get the experience, you have to go. It's iconic for a reason. It's fantastic. I've also auditioned a couple times because I love it. It would be like such a dream to be in the ensemble. I feel like that would be like just a great fit for me. Cheerful and happy and Christmas, and I love the dancing. You obviously cannot talk about dance in New York without talking about Broadway. In this area, there's like a gazillion Broadway shows. Like right there, you can see there's 6. There's a bunch all over. And they're all amazing, and you should go see as many as you possibly can. Anything that excites you. Some current faves that I've seen lately are The Outsiders, obviously always Wicked and Hamilton. MJ the Musical has really great dancing. The two I'm going to focus on today that I think are very dancey are Chicago and Moulin Rouge. So I picked Chicago because obviously it's legendary choreographer Bob Fosse. It premiered in 1935. I don't know if that premiered on the West End or Broadway then, but then it came to Broadway. The 1996 Broadway production holds the record as the longest running musical revival and the longest running American musical in Broadway history. It is the second longest running show ever to run on Broadway, behind only Phantom of the Opera, and it's still going, so like it could beat out Phantom, I don't know, because obviously Phantom's not on Broadway anymore, but I thought that was really interesting. Go Chicago. The choreography is so fun. I've auditioned for that show before. I love, love, love it. Yeah, go check that one out. Okay, next up is Moulin Rouge. If you are a commercial or contemporary dancer, this show is going to have your heart. It is so, so fun. I highly recommend. Choreographed by Sonia Taya. She is just really spectacular, and I can't recommend seeing this show enough. It's like an experience that you have to experience if you're a dancer. So yeah, that is my second recommendation. I mean, I recommended a bunch, but if you're a dancer, those are two that I'm like, I just feel like they need to be experienced. Okay, next up is Broadway Dance Center. Some Broadway Dance Center fun facts. It was created in 1984 by Richard Elner and Frank Hatchett. From 1998 to 2006, they moved to 57th Street. And then I came here when I was like 8 years old, and I took class at BDC, and it must have been in that location, which is so interesting. I didn't realize it wasn't where it's located now. In 2007, they moved to their current location, which I just showed you, in Midtown, right by Moulin Rouge, which is so fun. And I love Broadway Dance Center. My experience with Broadway Dance Center is I did their summer study program, which I vlogged for the magazine. You should go back and watch it, from a couple years ago. Such a great experience. Really helped me as I was returning to the industry, getting like back in my like strength as a technical dancer. Where am I? If you're gonna come to New York, take class there. I mean, choose either Steps or BDC are a must. If you can do both, because it's fun to have both experiences, to see what it's like dancing on the Upper West Side versus dancing in Midtown, and it's all amazing dancers both ways, so highly recommend. I am starving, so I am going to get food at Los Tacos. Up to this point, this has been a true walking tour, but my 6-month pregnant body is feeling it. My feet and my lower back, wow, I ran fast. My feet and my lower back are in pain. I took the train from Times Square down to the Joyce. There are a bunch of other dance spots that you should absolutely check out when you come to visit the city. These are just ones that I'm showing today, and I'm coming down to the Joyce because I think the Joyce has a really interesting backstory. So the Joyce Theater was formerly the Elgin Theater, which was a 1941 movie theater, but it was closed down, I think like by the community or something, like it had become like a seedy place or something. In 1977, the Elliott Feld Ballet was looking for a venue to present their work in, but all of the areas in New York City had like exorbitant rental costs for them, and the house sizes were so big that it was too risky for them to like fill the seats because they were a smaller company. And so in response to that, they started looking for a theater space that they could own that could fit their needs. And so what they did is they decided to buy the Elgin Theater. So it was a movie theater. They decided, all right, we're gonna buy this and change it into like a proper like performance venue. And they decided they wanted to do it in a way that would allow other small companies to be able to rent out the space when they weren't using it. And so it was kind of this like beneficial community space for dancers generally. I mean, they're paying for it, but something that was more manageable than what was available to them at the time. So in 1979, they decided to buy this old movie theater, and the price was $225,000. And a philanthropist named Lester Mertz underwrote the full cost of the purchase, so just covered it. So in 1981, they renamed the building, like the venue, to the Joyce Theater after Lester Mertz's daughter, Joyce, which I think is really cute. I always wondered, I'm like, why the Joyce? Is it because it brings us joy? I mean, it does bring us joy, but why is that? Anyway, the theater opened with a gala performance on June 2nd, 1982. I just think it's so cool that they created this space that now smaller companies that maybe couldn't afford these like gigantic venues in New York can come to New York and put on shows, because obviously New York, like the arts thrive here, and it makes it more accessible for everyone. My favorite shows that I've seen at the Joyce is every year Complexions comes, and Complexions has my heart, as we know. So I always love coming to this show. And then I also love, what else do I love? Body Traffic came once. Body Traffic was insane. There's like wish all Dorrance brings your company to the Joyce. Dorrance dance. Let's see what else. Oh, Al Blackstone did Freddie Falls in Love here, and I love Al with my whole heart, and I love Freddie Falls in Love, and Melanie Moore is in it. She plays the lead role, and it's just spectacular. So come to the Joyce. Look at how cool this is. It's so cute. Like, how cool is that? I love it. It legit looks like a proper movie theater. I love that they kept like that, I guess, marquee. I don't know what it's called. Those vibes. You're gonna be in New York. Go look at what's showing. If you already live in New York, I'm sure you've already been, but if you haven't, go, go, go. There's so many other places. Arts on Site. Gosh, I mean, just like street performers in the middle of the street are so exciting to watch. Experiencing dance in Manhattan is so special, and I love sharing my two passions of dance and New York City with you all. Okay, so we took 12,785 steps. We went 5.2 miles, and it was really fun. You don't have to do it all in one when you come to the city, but if you want to, it's kind of a fun activity. Like one time I walked the length of Manhattan with my friends, and it was so much fun. Highly recommend. Anyway, check out all those spots. Enjoy. Let us know if there's other dance-centric NYC sites that you're like, oh, you gotta put this on this list that I missed. I know there are a bunch that I missed, mostly because I'm pregnant and tired, and I don't think I can do all of it. But let us know so that everyone can benefit and we can all enjoy dancing and come back next month to see what we have happening. Mwah.